Just say riders ready and then go.
What's up, everyone? We're back with another Tuesday night cyclocross race practice here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We got a fast start right off the bat. I hit my pedal well, got right into it, but Isaiah, his start was just insane, and there was no way that I was able to keep up with him. My crux is really going out too hard, too fast, and then blowing up. I actually had to back it off a little bit right there at the start. I let Squire and Jake come around me, and we're off to the races. So great start on this Tuesday night, the second Tuesday night cyclocross practice that we've had here at Anderson or Williams Park. I don't know what the proper name is. Maybe someone could tell me in the comments. So it's a new week. It's a very different week. As you can see with the temperature on the screen, it's a lot warmer than it was last week. At least it felt warmer. I know it only shows a couple of degrees warmer as compared to last week, but conditions were different. We had a great course. Jake, Tanner do an awesome job every week of changing up the course, and we really appreciate the work that they and the Flyers put in every week. But this week it was a bit more dusty, a bit bumpy, and a bit warmer. And that's actually pretty typical of our practice races this time of year. So week one was really great. We had some hero dirt, cooler temps. Week two was a lot warmer and a bit more difficult. So first lap, as you see, we've got a few guys in front of me, but plenty of the fast guys are patrolling right behind me. We've got Luke, we've got Leaf, we've got Dakin. They're all there. They're all waiting to pounce on me when I inevitably blow up because, as I mentioned earlier, I think I went out too hard, too fast for this week, especially in the heat where I don't race as well in cyclocross as I would if it were much cooler out. So that's going to be the theme. This race is going to show, the footage of this race is going to show one by one of all these guys picking me off. Definitely have a bit more action this week. You'll see some more racers as compared to last week where I ended up in no man's land pretty quickly. So we're coming in on the tail end of the first lap. Luke, Mr. Smooth himself, is right on my wheel. This course this week was interesting. We had this pretty common feature that we see at many races where we do a 180 turn on an uphill off camber. It's a signature feature that you see at Flyers Cross or Ruts and Guts, and it's something that I try to work on every time it's there. So we're on the start-finish straight. I'm trying to hold the wheel in front of me. It's Squire, and one big difference this week as compared to last week, on top of starting a lot harder, is that I tried to keep the power up on the straightaway where normally I try to get some recovery. The reason for that is there was a really strong headwind, and these guys were moving so fast that I thought if I could just stay on the wheel, get some coverage from their draft, that I'd be able to continue to grow the gap. But ultimately, that extra bit of work on the straightaway on top of the hard start, you'll see my heart rate continue to creep up. I'm well over 180, not well over, but I'm over 180 at this point. 180 I can generally hold for a long period of time, but when I start getting into the 184 or 185 range, and you'll see some of these laps where we're getting into the run, that number creeps up into the high 180s and even low 190s, and that's not something I can sustain every week. So this week we are practicing running, so you can see every other lap we are all getting off our bikes and running that uphill. I think that's really good of Tanner to have us working on running. This is the road to Cyclocross Nationals. Many of us here in Tulsa are going to be going to the National Championships and racing in Fayetteville in December. And if you don't know, the course there in Fayetteville has some pretty hefty stairs, both from a size and quantity standpoint. The stairs were used in the World Championships and some UCI races in years past. And so we're all going to need to work on our running and our stairs to make sure that we're ready for hitting those lap after lap in Fayetteville. We're rolling on through the tail end of this second lap. Some guys have already started to pass me. I'm still hanging on in the front of the group, which I'm pretty happy with, to be honest. But that's all going to fall apart here pretty soon, especially since I will try and bridge up to the guys in front of me to make sure I've got a good wheel as we go into the headwind on the start-finish straight. So right behind me, switching camera angles, you can see Leaf is making his pass. Dakin's calling out to me to make sure that I stay on the wheel as we get on that start-finish straight. But I'm already starting to feel the first 2 laps in my legs and in my lungs. My heart rate is still creeping up. It's hot out, it's dusty, and I am definitely struggling. So Dakin's going to make his pass here. I'm going to do my best to try and get on his wheel, but frankly, the wheels, so to speak, are falling off for me just after 2 laps in this practice race. These Tuesday night races are really helpful for me to outline, not only what's going well with your training, with your practice, with your bike handling skills, but what are your areas of weakness. And you can really highlight those at these practice races and work on them, right? Focus on the things that you're weak at and try to make them better. So for me, it's being able to go out, start hard in a cross race, and then be able to continue the power that I know I can do if I don't start hard. And overall, my power numbers this week compared to week 1, our first week, were actually significantly worse. And a lot of that is because here after the 3rd lap, I really start to fade and I'm unable to stay on the gas and stick with some steady power output. So I've got Shane on my wheel here. Another great thing about practice races, not only here at the Tuesday night cyclocross, but even the Wheelman Tuesday night criterium races that have come back this year for the first time in many years, is if you have an issue, like I know Shane was having some flat tires, no one cares if you take a lap, take 2 laps, fix your mechanical, take some recovery, and then hop back in, right? We're all here to work together, to get better, to get faster, to learn from each other. What lines are you taking? What areas are you taking recovery? What areas are you laying power down? It's all about our community on Tuesday nights and really trying to, race hard and improve each other. So it's great to have Shane jumping in after he fixed his flat. Tanner's on his wheel. Tanner is rolling really well right now, and he's going to make the pass, and you're going to just continue to see one lap after the other. People behind me really start to pass me. I end up in no man's land again, like in years past. But I am able to take some recovery in the middle laps, and then I try to be able to, put down some better power numbers in the final laps, make sure that I'm not being gapped too far. So that really was my goal after realizing that I had blown myself up early on in this race. But let's stop talking about that, right? We're 3 laps in. I've talked about that enough. Just want to say these races are a ton of fun, and want to reiterate the point that if you have any bike that you think can go off-road, whether it's a cyclocross bike, a gravel bike, a mountain bike, whatever, you can take it out to these races and have a lot of fun. There's an A, a B, a C race, as well as a kids race. The C race usually starts, somewhat right after 5 o'clock. The B race then follows the C race, usually in the latter hour of 5 o'clock, so like 5:45 or something. Then the kids race goes, and then the A race goes at the end of the night, usually, I can't remember, maybe around 6:40. But as the days get shorter through the year, the race times shorten a little bit, and they start earlier so that we can make sure that all 3 of the races are getting done before sundown. So I just want to reiterate that point. If you have any reservation about coming out, or if you're nervous about having to get off your bike, you'll see, this week we had run-ups every other lap, and they were optional. There were people who had a bum knee or they weren't feeling it to be able to run this week, and no one cares. Just ride up it. There's going to be barriers at some point, and there's going to be options to go around the barriers. So again, if you have a mountain bike and you're nervous about getting off your bike, it's no big deal. We want to get as many people out here having fun racing cyclocross, and enjoying what I believe to be one of the best cycling sports that's out there. All right, we're continuing to roll here on the 4th lap. Kenny made a strong pass around me. He's chasing up on Tanner. I'm continuing to roll, but as you'll see, I believe in this lap, this is when I really start to dial back the power. My heart rate's at 187. I try to get some recovery in for several laps so that I can be able to finish the race strong. You'll notice that this week I'm a little bit behind in getting out our second week's race and voiceover. I've had some stuff going on and I work a normal job, so I will do my best to try and get these out timely. We'll continue to try and work on these, just like as I said in the first video. These are practice races and I'm doing practice voiceovers, so we'll continue to work on these. I'll also be looking to put out the proper cyclocross races, the actual races as they happen through the season. And I've also got some recorded races, road races from earlier in the year, from my vantage point as well as from Drew's vantage point, especially sneak peek from his Tulsa Tough win. So we'll be looking to have Drew on the channel. We'll be looking to do a voiceover together and analyze his Tulsa Tough win, as well as his other races that he's been recording through the season. So just want to say thank you if you're still here listening to me ramble. If you're still here watching cyclocross, appreciate you spending time. And I also appreciate all the feedback that everyone gave me last week for my first voiceover. I've been enjoying creating these videos, doing the video editing, doing the telemetry overlays, and actually doing the voiceovers. So appreciate the feedback. Keep it coming. I want to get better at it, especially as we get into the actual cyclocross races on the year and getting some of the Tulsa Tough voiceovers with Drew from his win earlier in the year. So with that, I'll sign off. I'll leave you with the rest of the race, the sights and sounds of the Tuesday night cyclocross practice in Tulsa at Anderson or Williams Park. Still not sure what the correct term is there. But anyway, again, appreciate it, enjoy, and we'll see you next week. job, Shaner.
Get these flying.
Yeah.
can't remember. Huh?